Thank you very much for your presentation. Some years ago, when California suffered from the rollouts, I remember reading in some magazine that Texas did not suffer because of good planning for the energy industry. Could you share us some of the details of that planning, and is it still continuing to make sure that we don't suffer from them in the future?
The Public Utility Commission has regulatory oversight for you all as your state agency of the electricity. It goes into your homes and your businesses. We have done good planning. And the special thing about Texas is that we have our own electric grid. We're not dependent on anybody else for the electricity that runs into your homes and your companies and your businesses. It's something very, very special, the grid and the electric grid. And so the planning can be on a more local basis. And the Public Utility Commission, the 3 commissioners there who are appointed, unlike the railroad commissioners, they do not run for election, but they're appointed and they are very diligent in ensuring the reliability of the electricity that Texans need. And so fortunately, I can't imagine that there are critical issues, though, and if we do not provide the energy for the electric generation that Texans deserve and need to grow and prosper and thrive, we'll be having those too. And sometimes Texans, that we are not, we're like other people too. We want what we want when we want it, but maybe we don't want something going up in our own backyard. I am a true believer in the potential for nuclear-generated electricity. I am excited about the potential for the rich natural gas resources we have to generate electricity across the country. Natural gas and nuclear. Wind will play a small part. It'll contribute not that much really, honestly, but it helps at those times when we need it to fill in. I'm a believer in we can have it all. We can have good, clean energy to provide electricity and to fuel vehicles, and we can do it in an environmentally sensitive way. It's a long answer to your question about California, but I have to put in a plug for Texas.
Have you addressed the role of alternative energies? You mentioned wind and the small part that you see it playing, and you mentioned there are other fuels, biofuels, solar as an example. Texas is blessed with so much sun. What do you see as the role of solar as an energy source for the future, and does the Commission have any role in overseeing that or regulating that?
The question about solar, we are rich in sunshine, and it makes so much sense on its face, and I'm a great believer in solar, just like I am in wind. And I believe there is a role to play for these alternatives, although I just believe that the people who are listening to policymakers like me ought to put a caveat, and that is that it would take miles and miles of solar panels to make a true, meaningful contribution to the electricity needs of a state as big as Texas. But there's nothing wrong with letting people have the opportunity to choose their source of generation. And there are solar projects going out in West Texas, and I think it is very exciting. And I think they have a role to play, and as wind too. It'll take decades before we can have, and I'm excited about solar on rooftops and in urban settings. To put solar on roof, there are a lot of creative ways that people can self-generate electricity and sell back to the grid in Texas. So you may have a multitude, hundreds of solar generators, and they're all independent homeowners who are selling back to the grid. And that's where I think solar can make a tremendous contribution. But nevertheless, I think as the people, like you all here in this room, are looking at this and working on it, as a government policymaker, I have to think of the best and highest use of any source of energy and how it's used in electric production, and also the tax dollars, the hard-earned money of the person sitting next to you. And can I go and tell somebody that I have made wise decisions in promoting one thing over another? So that's why I believe that if government will provide technology transfer, the transfer of technology to either, whether it's other states or other companies, research and development dollars, and then let people like you in this room take the ball and run with it after those research dollars have been put up, that's a better use of dollars that, after all, started with you all anyway. So I am excited about solar. I'm a big fan of it, and I have to put a little disclaimer here. My husband is an attorney in the I-35 corridor. He's a transactional business lawyer, and he's got some solar clients. So it's a new day, and it's so exciting to be part of that, and to be, from my perspective, to be in the arena and to be able to watch the greatest show on earth. And the greatest show on earth is going to be what is going to fuel, what we are going to use in decades to come. And I get to sit and watch and help a little bit. And these young people in this room here today are going to be the ones carrying the ball for us. But to ensure that Americans have what they deserve and what they need to can maintain our wonderful quality of life in this country. Solar's great. Wind's good.
I represent a company that are constantly looking for projects in the oil, gas, as well the alternative energies in the Americas. If a project has a support from the government, as well from the project owners, in order to be succeed, needs to be promoted in front of strategic analysis. So, how can we see the projects you have in Texas with the sponsorship from the government to the private sector in order to be funding with the same value industrial strategic partners? Do you have any kind of support that in the government?